So I was first introduced to Sierra through her platform, Legacy Speaks, on a video about infertility, which is something I'm very passionate about. And so tonight, I asked her to collaborate so that we can talk about just the realities of being a creative, not just any type of creative, but also as a clinician and what that looks like. So let's get started. First question for you, Sierra, is you utilize YouTube, and that platform is where you share your content with the world. Can you talk about how important it is for you to create your own space as well as what motivated you to do so?
Um, the reason why I use YouTube specifically is because I remember growing up in college, like YouTube was the thing, or it was just something that a lot of influencers started using.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Facebook catered to one specific generation, and then you have like Instagram and Snapchat and so on and so forth. But YouTube gave me the platform to be able to produce content for an extenuated period of time. So I could
Hmm.
do things for more than 60 seconds or more than a minute. I could literally put like that discussion on there, and it'll be there through the queue or through your search engine or whatever. Now, obviously, with upgrades with Instagram, you have like IGTV and so on and so forth. But when I first started, I didn't have that opportunity, and I knew this discussion was so important. It
Hmm.
needed to go beyond just a minute, or I needed to go just beyond those different slides that only Instagram provided. Facebook was still trying to navigate with their own little TV platform, but for me, I just really wanted to create um, just a mental health version of Oprah, or Oprah Soul Sessions, or
Yeah.
Soul Session Sundays, and just literally focus specifically on mental wellness, just not mental health or mental illness, but overall mental wellness for the community.
That's good. I like that so regarding, I think a lot of times as creatives we see other people doing things and we just try to jump on the bandwagon. But
Yeah,
you spoke to like the intentionality of it. Like you could have easily done, we see all these people that's Instagram famous from their 60-second videos and all of these things. Like you could have went that route, but for content
yeah,
you recognize, no, I need more than that, and I need something that will be sustained. And not everybody has Instagram. Not everybody has a Facebook account, but anybody can go on YouTube with or without an account. So I like that.
yeah. Very true. And I always refer to YouTube as like YouTube University, because literally you can learn anything from hair,
Yes.
from working on your car, from helping you study for your next exam. And one lady, there was like a therapist. I think she was like a licensed not a licensed marriage and family therapist,
Mm-hmm.
and she wasn't of color. And I was just like, man, like she's really dope. She's really amazing. She's able to speak to her specific niche. But
Mm-hmm.
why do I not see any other like a clinician of color, whether you're a licensed social worker or LPC or APC or LMFT? I just did not see any clinicians of color on our platform. And so, I mean, there's podcasts out there. There's therapy for Black girls as the podcast and whatnot. And obviously, like, there's therapy is dope through the Melanin Clinicians Collective and so on and so forth. But it's something about like being able to see, like you said, that
Mm-hmm.
whole representation, being able to see it, you're able to connect to it I think a lot more better.
Yeah. And that's what I love about like our generation of clinicians, because now it's becoming a thing. So, you have Legacy Speech, you have Ask Tashar Thursdays, you have Dr. Joy with Therapy for Black
Yes.
Girls, you
Hmm.
have Melanin Mental Health. Like there's so many different things, different podcasts. My former supervisor, him and his wife, Dr. Mercier, they just started a podcast. So there's people are doing it, of color, but it wasn't like that. I'm sure when you first started, it wasn't as popular as it is now. And so, how did you gain the confidence to continue going, not seeing as much representation or seeing people that didn't look like you, maybe had the same background and training, but not the same life experiences or the same struggles? How did you maintain that confidence to move forward?
Um, I guess because I knew the mission at hand. Like ultimately, I wanted to be able to provide information that was not only applicable but like relatable,
Okay.
um, and not even just like even in layman's terms, they're trying to like dumb stuff down for the audience, but it's one thing to be a what do you call it, a academic, and you're in school and you're reading all these textbooks and you're learning all of these terms, but to the average person, they may not know what gestalt is, they may not know what reflecting is, they may not know what CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy is. But if I'm able to take those larger concepts and break them down so that day-to-day people are able to apply it to their own life, that is just what makes this so fun for me. And that's something that I greatly appreciate. And that's why I continue to do what I do. Um, because oftentimes a lot of people are seeking the help, but they just don't know where to start, or they may
Yeah.
not be able to afford it. So let me help you learn these coping skills that you can use on a day-to-day basis. Let me help you learn how to be able to manage your stress on your job, without having to go pay out of pocket, or go broke just to go get therapy. Not saying that what I do replaces the actual therapy,
Right.
but it helps give you a type of foundation to help you within that moment. What I currently do now is a lot of crisis stabilization, a lot of brief therapy within the moment. And so I do this on a day-to-day basis in my job. And so taking what I do at work and being able to provide that free information to a platform of such an amazing group of people that I meet on a daily day basis. And I really do appreciate and honor each and every person who watches my videos, because your attention really is important to me. But
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what I try to do. Just cater to the people, cater to the audience. That's why I'm always sending out surveys, or I'm always reaching out or asking or leaving questions in the comments below, like, how can I help you with my next video? What topics do you need to know, to help you manage? Because I feel like that's what therapy really is. It's about the overall functionality of your life. How can you deal with the day to day without having a mental breakdown, or without being super depressed and not being able to get up out of bed, or without cursing out your boss at
Hello.
work.
Okay.
How can I help you in this moment? So I guess that's the mission, and that's why I keep moving forward.
I love that. And I really, I mean, you said a mouthful of amazing things. And one of the things that last part that I want to capitalize on is that, just speaking of the stigma of mental health or therapy, you're right. Like, most of it is not crisis, not for the actual therapy, because you have to be at a level of stabilization to be able to learn the skills and utilize
Yeah.
the skills. So yeah, it is like, how do I just go do my day to day? Because life is going to happen on life's terms. How do
Yeah.
I, how do I learn to maneuver through those things, and then just be able to talk to someone that is non-judgmental and can
Hmm.
understand, and I'm good, not necessarily like, yeah, I'm in active psychosis all the time, or I'm actively suicidal. At that point, it's crisis management. We're trying to get you to a level of calm.
Yeah, how can I stabilize you in that moment? And like you said, life is going to happen on life's terms, and we can't avoid it. Like, even as clinicians, we get stressed out. We as therapists
Man,
need therapists too.
yes,
And it's
one more
real. We need
time.
we as therapists need therapists too, and we need that social support. And
Yes.
so, for anybody who is looking into seeking therapy or anything like that, recognize that the person that you're going to help you through this therapeutic process, they're human as well. And like, we
Yes.
recognize that you're human too. And so, if we're able to come together within this experience and recognize just I guess the basic human life experience, I think things will get a lot easier and a lot better.
Yeah, we're all human. We all
Yeah.
human. Awesome. So talk a little bit. So you talked a little bit about it, but could you expand on how utilizing social media, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, how can that feed your creativity?
Um, One, it challenges me and it really does push me because, man, the social media has changed or is consistently changing. Like, Instagram literally just created like a option for you to sell directly in the Instagram portal. Like, that's crazy. Can you
Wow.
imagine? Like, it's crazy how we went from the early MySpace and the Flickr and so on and so forth to
Yeah.
to only having like practically creating your own platform on any of these online social media platforms. And so it always challenges me to make sure that I'm remaining as creative as possible, because there's so much information that's being thrown at everybody on a consistent basis. They say, like, a post only lasts about or less than a minute on your feed. And then, you know, with
Wow.
like your algorithms and whatnot, what you put out there may not be seen for days on end or months on end. So social media really does challenge me and pushes me to make sure that the content that I produce remains relevant and in the faces of different people. One thing that I really, really try my very best to do, and this is for anybody who is looking to do an online platform or anybody who is looking to be able to engage people or other audiences, is like practicing omnipresence. So what I put on YouTube, I try my very best to share on Facebook, or I try my very best to share on Snapchat, Instagram, and so on and so forth.
I like that.
Because I understand that even though YouTube is a huge, huge platform, there's some people who may not have YouTube. So how can I go ahead and engage the person who's on Facebook? How can I engage that teenager that's on Instagram or Snapchat or whatever? So.
And just talking the power of Black creatives. So us, everybody that's listening and tuning into this live, as well as those who will listen to it later on Facebook or YouTube or whatever the case is learning, and you're able to share and feed off of, you know, Sierra's comments or her journey or my journey and my comments. And so that's the power of not just Black creatives, but partnerships. So guys, feel free to comment and ask questions as we move forward. And I think also another way for me personally that social media challenged me to be creative, like for example, the name of my show. So it's a hashtag on purpose for trending purposes. So
Mm-hmm.
literally people, once they put the name of the show, I'm able to see that it gives me feedback. I can connect with people who I may not be personal friends with because someone has shared the video and then they shared it. So it's just, social media literally funnels creativity. If you're not creative, you're not going to last in this, it's just a beast. You're not going to last in this,
Yeah.
you know? So
Very true. Very
it's a,
true. It's very competitive because you're always competing for somebody else's attention.
it's the truth.
Oh my gosh, it gets stressful.
And so with that, let's talk about how competition can hurt partnerships. So I think sometimes
Mm,
with, like, for example, I could have reached out to you and you're like, nah, because you doing something
yeah,
similar to me and you're gonna take my
yeah.
audience. So talk about how that competition can be negative regarding creatives on an online platform.